Welcome to the Voices of a Stranger podcast. Here is your host, Reza Garajadaki.
And welcome to another episode of the Voices of a Stranger. I am so excited today to welcome my good friend Hicham Hamad, who is from Morocco originally, and he is an amazing young man who I've known for a few years, know a lot about his life story. So first of all, Hicham, happy Ramadan and congratulations on your fast. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother. I'm good. How are you? And Eid Mubarak.
Thank you. Eid Mubarak to you. Thank you so much. So I want to give the audience a little prelude about your story. You're going to talk about coming to America as a first-generation immigrant, like myself. I got here when I was 17. You got here about 22, but we have different backgrounds. I came here with a vast knowledge of English, but you came here with very basic English.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really proud of what you've done. So, ladies and gentlemen, Hicham is a tall athlete. He was on the Moroccan basketball team, a top player. And when he was 21, he got a major injury. And he had a knee injury, took him off the team, and he was trying to figure out what to do with his life. He had a really good friend who was French Canadian, a Moroccan who lived in New York, and was living in New York, and an opportunity came. And she said, I know somebody in Morocco who would love to come out here, and invited Hicham to come out to New York. So Hicham, you're about 22 years old. So tell me about your life a little bit before and the decision of coming to America, and tell us your story, okay?
Well, hi everyone. I'm Hicham again. As an immigrant, most of people like outside of America always they heard the term of American dream. So everyone knows about the American dream, but it depends. Someone can believe in that, someone not. So I was among the people that I don't believe in that first time. So when life hit me hard, basically, I get injured, and basically I'm a guy that really independent. Like I like to do things my own and try to dream big, So when I get a opportunity with my friend that I can get in there, you know what? I just took it. I said, let's go. The fun fact is actually I came to New York with $20 in my pocket.
Wow.
I still remember that. But that it gave me a good reason to work harder, I believe.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. How was your family's response? I mean, you told your parents, I'm going to New York. How did they respond?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna tell you, my dad, he's a military guy, so you know how these people work. Green is green, blue
Sure.
is blue. He was like, "Yeah, good luck. You're gonna come back." This is the reaction. My mom, being your mother always, she's the one always showing you great support in that. I remember it was on Tuesday around 4 a.m. in the morning when I was about to take a plane. She looked at me, she said, "Son, there's no chest like my chest," And she was like, when you need to talk, I'm here to talk, And
That's
I was
nice.
like, yes, mom, So I remember give her a kiss goodbye, and then, I said, let's go. And in the airport, this is quick, funny, before I start. The guy actually did a custom, asked me, he was like, how much money are you taking with you? And I was like, $20. He looked at me, he was like, what? Are you going to a coffee shop, buying coffee? I'm like, trust me, man, I have 20 and I'm showing to him. I'm like, right here.
That's my $20 bill, right?
Yes.
So you arrive in New York, in the greatest city in the world, with $20 at
Yes.
22 years old. So go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, in the airport, there was this guy came to me. He was like, hey, you need a card. And I'm looking at him, in Morocco, if someone offer you a card, you just take it for free. So I grabbed one. He was like, hey, you need to pay me. I'm like, how much? He was like, $5. And I'm looking at him, man, I got to give him 5. I'm going to have 15 left. I'm like, no, I'm good. Well, the first thing is there's this term, and a lot of Moroccans do use it there. When they leave Morocco, they always say, we see colors. The reason why I'm saying that is just the different buildings, different environment, smell, air, I have to say, I was like, holy crap, I'm sorry. This is something amazing, and New York City, people, they hustle, number one, hustling, there is no friendly faces, there is no excuse me. You've been in New York, you know how it works there. So,
so you got here, where did you live?
So basically, actually, a friend of mine, she got me like in the 31st Street in Manhattan. Till I got up on my feet and then move on. And so when doing the modeling, basically, I'm
So
modeling there.
you came here to do modeling here. Is that what
Yes,
you did?
yeah, yes,
Tall,
exactly. Yeah,
good-looking
tall,
Moroccan guy.
tall, skinny,
Yeah,
So making the money and at the same time paying for my rent. So it's, New York, how expensive. One studio, you pay like what, 2,500, something like that. Uh, until, yeah,
and
sorry.
Hisham, what year was this?
This was 2003, like the beginning of
2003.
2003. Yes,
And you're doing modeling,
yes.
and you're getting published, and you're starting to make some living in New York as a
Yes,
model.
yes, exactly. Yeah, and getting by, trying to learn more English. At that time my
Sure,
English wasn't that great. Uh, so after a while, I met with this lady, and at first I had just work visa. So basically, when it's done, I had to go back home. So I met with
sure,
her. We get married, and then I get a green card, so I could stay.
great,
And then I move up to upstate New York, and this is
sure.
different because here I noticed here in America, basically when you say I'm from New York or I used to live in New York, they always mention I like imagine New York City, but it's not. Upstate New York is not New York City. It's just like green, forests,
And cold.
woods, and cold. Yes. Being from Morocco, going to Lake Placid, New York, like sometimes it gets to negative 45. And
Unbelievable.
I'm like, no, no way. This is too hard, But I think life is experience. It's about experience, and people, God bring you people in your life for a reason,
Now, when you moved to New York with your
Yes.
wife, you
Yeah.
you had told me before
Yeah.
you got into an amazing opportunity with a
Yes.
gentleman who took you
Yes.
under his wing, right?
Yes, yes. His name is Eric. Basically, he owns a production company, and basically, we used to do with him like theme parties, live sound for superstars. Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, French Montana,
Wow.
and like a big games. And I'm I'm kind of talented with the music that time. So basically, he saw something in me. Like I can do it. So I learned under his wing, and basically he took me like one of his closest friends, and his kids. They were really super young, so basically they grow up under my eyes. They were like I'm their, second dad, something like that. So I learned a lot about the business, about the industry, and still living upstate New York. And I'm saying I would not say I hated it, but I loved it somehow. It's super peaceful, safe,
Right. So Hisham, so your wife's
Yeah.
working, you're living in a house with her, and it looks like under Eric, you're starting to build a career in this
Yes.
production, right?
Yes. Well, I always like when I'm doing it there. Basically, I always believe in myself. Like what, I want to dream big. So I need to learn all the aspect of the business of the show, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So after a while, like I spent there for 10 years, and there
Wow.
where I started getting my own opportunities, like some clubs, big clubs, calling me like, "Hey, is this Hicham? Yeah, we want you to come down here, spin for us, do a session for us," and that was great, because right there I felt that's it. I'm climbing, I'm climbing, and things happen in life. I get divorced, and things start,
Things didn't
trembling
work
right
out.
there. So, but even that, I didn't give up in my dream. Like I want to do something big, and sometimes they said there's something in Morocco we say always behind a man a great woman. You know, there were actually met with my current wife
Current wife.
online.
So hold on one sec. Before we get to that,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you were 10 years in upstate New York, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you built your talent. It looks like you're
Mhm.
doing well. And then you and your ex-wife obviously decided it was time.
Yes.
By now, you're obviously legal in the U.S. And it was time. It sounds like when we talked, it
Yeah.
was time for you to leave. You had enough of Buffalo or New York.
Yes.
It was time to leave, right?
You know what? I have to say yes, 50%. And I always wanted a good reason to leave, At that moment in the company, I was like the right hand man. Everything goes under
Sure.
my eyes, and
That's
it's
awesome.
really hard for me to go to tell me, okay, I gotta move, So I waited for a good reason, and I remember we attended this DJ convention in Vegas, actually, where I met with my wife there first time, and we were having dinner, and I remember him telling her, if you take Hicham away from me, I'm gonna stab you. At that time it was just a joke.
So you met your current wife online, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
uh,
So you started corresponding on the internet together, and
yes,
she lived out in Santa Barbara, and that's where we met, right?
yes, yeah, in Santa Barbara, yeah.
So talk about when you first met her. How was the relationship online? How long was that?
I would tell you one thing. First time I contacted her, well, a friend of we had a mutual friend, but now she's not in our life. It's just like she came for a reason, and then she left. I remember I saw Kat picture on her profile. I was like, hey, who's this? She was like, hey, this is my friend Catherine, and that. I was like, okay, I will, send her a message, PM her. So I said, hey, this is Hicham, from New York. She never responded. Like for 3 days, she never responded. So I was like, you know what? Let's give her one more try. So I give her, I showed her another text, and I was like, hey, I just want to check in online, see how you doing, and that. She sent me, okay. I'm like, I like this girl. Yeah. So, it's just like normal, like
Started corresponding, right?
Having conversations. I mean, long-term relationship. You're in New York, she's in California. I mean, sometimes it's not that easy. Especially communications, misunderstanding happen, but we made it work. And like I said, I used to come to Vegas too many times, and there we decide, hey, let's meet there, and that's how it started.
I understood. So your boss said to her, Eric, if you take him away from me, I'm going to kill you, basically.
Yeah, basically, yes.
He's my right hand man, right?
Yes. Well, I was his right hand man. So I mean, all
of
the
course,
secret,
it's
all
his
the
business.
Yes.
So at what point did you realize that I really like this young woman? She's amazing. Yeah. We're having a long distance relationship, but I'm ready to take the next step. So what happened then?
So we were talking about who's going to move to where, and it was December 2013. I invited her to come to New York, and I give her good advice. I said, just let you know, it's cold, bring warm clothes. And, I remember the first night, actually, she landed, it was like -24 in Albany. And she came out from the airport. She was like, "No, I can do this." She was like, "I don't know how you do it, but I cannot live here." So basically, like sometimes I have a lot of funny stories. So the way how I realized she's the woman, and I wanna propose to her. We were watching The Hobbit in theater. I think the second Hobbit. And at the end of the movie, there is the song called "I See Fire,"
right,
by Ed Sheeran. And that song, you just put the mood. I'm like, I look at her, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ask her. So that's how it started.
So then you decided that you don't want to live in New York, and you're going to move to sunny California, Santa Barbara,
yes,
of all places.
Yes.
So then you told Eric that you're leaving, and he wasn't very happy, right?
I have to say, yes, he wasn't happy, but there's nothing he can do about it. That time, he knows I was serious. This is a new chapter of my life. I have to take with my own hand, and my own feet to do it. And, you can tell he didn't like it, but there's nothing he can do about it.
So you moved to Santa Barbara, right?
Yes.
And then that's when I met you. My cousin Natasha was friends. Husband was friends with you, John.
Yes.
And we got introduced, and my family obviously loves you.
Yeah.
So you were in Santa Barbara, and then tell us the rest of your story.
So coming to Santa Barbara, it's another, what do you say? I mean, another chapter, something unknown. Leaving everything that I know back in East Coast and coming to the West Coast, there's no friends, nobody, just her, and even, I have to say, even the people mentality is different. Californians, they are different than, people in New York, in New York, you always hustle, you're going fast, you have to adapt, so that's exactly what happened, I remember I stayed like almost 2 months, like without a job, just, to see what's going on here. Finally, I found a job. Actually, I worked for Mercedes-Benz, like as a test driver. So
sure.
I did it for 3 months. And after that, I joined this like event company where I actually met John, Natasha's husband.
Right.
And right there, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go back on track and then follow my dream again.
Do what you love. Right?
Yeah. So I started learning about the industry in Santa Barbara, way different than California, New York. And I think 4 years later, I just said it's time to do my own stuff. So I
start your own business, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And also your wife was very successful. She had a great job, and you guys lived in Santa Barbara. And then eventually her job moved. So then when did you guys move out of Santa Barbara?
We moved in actually December 2018. to
Sure.
Texas. Yeah.
Texas. And then while you were in Texas, there was an incident that happened that you're going to share with us now, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes you face challenge in your life, and God will test you with too many things. Either your health or people around you that you love a lot. Uh, we had one child at the time, and we get pregnant for our second, and everything seems running fine, no problem. I remember the day of the birth of the baby Noor, we had a tornado, but it was fine. Still was okay. You know. So after the birth for 3 days, my wife basically, her body started having different, like acting weirdly. Basically, she got swollen, all body swollen, and one night woke up coughing blood, so I had to take an emergency. At that moment we didn't know that she wanted to go back to sleep, but she was between life and death for just an hour. If she closed her eyes, went back to sleep, she will never be with us. So
Wow.
basically she spent a week in ICU. I spent a week with her there, and it was really tough. You have just a newborn, and the mama away from, basically I had, to be the connection between the two, taking the milk, coming back and go back, it was hard. It was really rough, but we
And
made
so
it work.
what happened? Do you know what was the situation with her? What was her medical situation?
So basically, there is one illness, like always go to women, basically. It's like about like 0.01%. Like after pregnancy, basically your body start producing a lot of fluid.
Sure.
And for her body didn't know what to do with it. So basically she was full of fluid and that causing the swollen, and her heart cannot keep up. So it started basically slowly dropping. And remember, it was like, like ER TV show. We got inside, they plug all the machines, all set, and everything going crazy, sounds.
Wow.
And I remember the
So
guy.
how is that? I know when we spoke, tell me
Yeah.
about that. Her family's there, you're there, you have a new baby, and your life is like flashing in front of you. So talk about that.
Well, as we live in here, I remember I told her hold tight, driving like a maniac with my flashers. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop. Nobody's gonna stop me tonight to the emergency room. We got inside, and I remember she's telling the guy there in the ER that she feel like there is a lot of fluid in her body, and he was like, yeah, I can hear it. So he gets inside, and then there's two different doctors coming in, and they put her in this bed. We got inside. They plug everything about her heart, all the machines, and all of a sudden, like I said, all the sound going off. So one guy came to me. He was like, "Hey, Mr. Hamadi, come with me. Let's have coffee." I'm like, "I'm not gonna have no coffee at all. Tell me what's going on here." He was like, "She's gonna be okay," and I can tell his eyes like there's something up. Dude, something is wrong there. Right? The only thing I can't actually made me just stay calm in my reaction, and I process things different. Like I smile when I'm under stress. I just
Yeah.
smile and stay quiet. So right there, I just say, God, please. I mean, it is what it's. She's between your hand. I mean, if meant to happen, but please, we just had a baby. It's very emotional, because you look at her
Absolutely.
in that condition, and she cannot speak, and all you hear is just really just like, that's she cannot talk, uh, they try to stabilize her. That why they put in the ICU, and you can tell sometimes she talk. One night actually she went into coma state,
Wow.
and right there I'm like, that's it, I lost her. I'm sitting there crying, and the doctor tried to call her name, cat, like try to squeeze her hand, and like after 10 minutes she opened her eyes, and she was like, did you fall asleep? She was like, I don't know. She was like, is your body shut off or you just want to sleep? She was like, I don't know. She was like, if you want to sleep, make sure you don't want taking, you're going to sleep. Don't let your body shut off. And right there, I'm like, man, this is serious. Right there, I felt useless. There's nothing I can do, and we made it work. We had a good help with friends, and basically,
How long was she in the hospital, Hisham?
well, in ICU, she spent about 8 days.
Wow, 8 days.
Yes, 8 days. Yes, cause
And the doctor said it was life or death, right?
yes, we got actually a month later. Basically, we got a report. Like we read exactly all the messages they have. All the doctors. Basically, the first doctor, she said, the patient, she is at the death door. So I mean, it was something like, make you realize life can be taken away from you like in just a split second, like no problem, like nothing wrong. So
Okay. So she came home, and did she make a full recovery?
it took a time, you know, because women
And you have a
especially.
new baby.
Yes, we have a new baby. Yes, I think the new baby was, and even the whole sister. I mean, they were the key, and then the reason to push harder, to live for them, I mean, she's super healthy, but it just meant to happen, I guess. So it's just
Now,
really
when you were, did you have family and friends or her there to help you? Because you're trying to work. She's probably out of work right
yes.
now. You have two babies. So tell me about the community that helped you.
Well, we live in a great community here in Frisco, Texas. Our
Okay.
neighborhood, once they know what happened to Cat, they did what they call mail train. So basically, every day someone bring in food to our house. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
we said we don't have to, but this is how they do it. I have a couple of surgeon friends that they call their friends, the other one called friend to see what's going on, to just to make the process going faster for her. I mean, we felt like very special, especially this, professor or surgeon coming in and visit her, like, well, don't worry, we will take care of you and that. And it's just amazing. I mean, luckily we had all of her family with us that week before that happened. So when that happened, at least my oldest, she was with the family here in the house, not just by herself.
Sure. So luckily, so you guys survived that, and now
Yes,
you have two beautiful daughters,
yeah,
right?
yeah, too, yes.
Okay. How old
Oldest one.
how old how old
The,
is
the
how old
other
they?
one, her name is Layla, and she's 8. The
Right.
oldest now, and the youngest, she is Nor. Her name is Nora, and she is 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about your family. How do they feel? I mean, have you been back to Morocco? I know. Tell me. I mean, you left at 22. You moved here. You made your life. You got married. You have two beautiful kids. Uh, Tell me
So,
about what's like back in Morocco for your family.
so I am the only married person in my family. So it's huge for them coming in, with the kids around. And my mom, she used to be a very like a tough cookie and like tough mother. You mess
Right.
up, you're gonna get the spank or get the spoon, whatever it is. To see her with her grandchildren, she's really gentle. It's like, who's this person? You never did that with us. It's just amazing. Make my heart really warm to see that. It's fun.
Right.
We went to visit actually just last year actually to Morocco.
Oh yeah,
To
that's right. I
Morocco.
saw some pictures. Right. Yeah.
Yes, we stayed there for 2 weeks.
How is that for your daughter? I mean, seeing her father's country, that must be amazing for your
First thing I
daughters.
promised myself is I will always show my kids where I grew up, just to be thankful what we have. Here in US, I feel like people take it by granted. There's a lot of things available here. Whatever you want, it's available. In Morocco, is not. You have either work hard for it. I started working when I was 7 years old because I asked Dad, give me $2. So here it's illegal to do that here. So, but
Yeah.
in Morocco, no one cares. Work is work. So I took her. I took my oldest one to my old neighborhood, where one of the oldest, basically, not neighborhood in the city, and all she kept saying, "Wow, this is why, Daddy. This is why, wow."
That's
And
awesome.
as we going back, she was like, "Daddy, this is not like home." I was like, "Yes,
Nothing
here you
like
have to grow so soon."
very fast.
Yes,
Hisham, one of the questions I have
yes,
is, and your wife, I've met her. She's wonderful, and she's American.
yes,
Um, and you are an amazing. You practice your religion.
yeah.
I know. And so, it's interesting for the audience. Tell us about the cultures. I mean, how does your wife, when she first found out you were a Muslim from Morocco? I know you practice.
Hmm.
How is that? How is the and you teach your daughters about your
Yes.
religion? So I'd love to know more about that.
Okay, so coming to US, I mean, especially 2003 was really close, kind of from 2001, 9/11.
That's right.
Coming to US, I'm very like I always walk tall, no matter what. If you
Yeah.
judge me wrong, that's your problem. If you judge me right, thank you. Uh, my previous boss slash best friend Eric, actually, when he had an interview with me, he was like, "This is kind of interesting, because it was the first American asked me this question, and he was like, so why Muslims hate Americans?" You know, I mean, that's where I'm like, okay. I was like, not Muslim. When you say Muslims, you just generalize all the countries. You know, I mean, yes. I mean, you have to understand politicians. They don't represent the people. People are different than
True.
politicians. You know, and plus, you know, politics is different game. You know, if a government doesn't agree with the government, it's a government, not to the people. I'm like, you know what? I'm here talking to you. So you think if I don't like you, why I should be near you, working for you? I want to work for you. It was like that makes sense. But I'm very proud Muslim. You know, if I see something right is right. If I see something wrong, I will say, I will call it. You know, I have no fear for that. As a matter of fact, when Boston Marathon happened, the bombing there, I
Yeah.
remember a friend of mine called me. He said, "Hey, I just saw a Muslim being beaten in the street." So I felt wrong. I mean, like, why? I remember I went to one very famous newspaper. I get inside. I was like, "My name's Hicham. I'm a Muslim, and I need to talk to someone." You know,
Mhm.
the lady, she was like, "Actually, you can find this article. Actually, I wrote for that newspaper online too."
Well,
So,
good for you. Yeah.
I always say I mean, Muslim is being a Muslim. You have to set a good example, and this is one of my good advice my dad told me. He was like, "Hey, you are as a representative. People there, they are Christian. You know, whatever their religion is, you are Muslim. That you are representing your religion. Whatever you do
Absolutely.
right is right. If you do wrong is wrong." And then, with Kat and family, they are Christian. First time, I mean, they were curious.
Yeah. Of
A
course.
guy coming to their family, if he's going to be a member of family, which is a Muslim,
Tall.
tall, they always ask questions. But Kat,
Sure.
she's always been very open. If she had a question, ask me. Her dad also. Her dad, I mean, may his soul rest in peace. He always used to love questions. Sometimes even text me, "Hey, I have asked you this." It was basically when we sat together, we decided to get married. We want to make sure our kids, they're gonna have growing, understand both cultures, both religions.
Great.
Yes, they are Muslims. Because in our belief, the kids always follow the father
Sure.
believes faith. But I mean, they participate. I mean, they always happy for mommy's religions,
Christmas.
holidays, and Christmas, all that. And that's part of their life. They have to understand. Their mom is Christian, and this is what she believes, and this is what they believe too. And we make it in balance. Always keep it balanced.
Yeah.
As long as
Well,
there's respect. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the best parts of the story. I mean, I follow your life online, and I'm really proud of you. I mean, I came here at 17, but I had such a huge advantage with the language.
Yes.
But you came here, obviously you were taller and better looking, and you were a model. But with $20, so
Yes.
it's just an amazing, and that's why I want you to be a guest on the Voice of Stranger,
Thank
because
you.
I came here as an immigrant, but you have a completely different story and what you've done. So the last thing I want to ask you, Hicham,
Yes.
what
Yes.
is your message to people who are listening? What do you want to tell our viewers about being an immigrant and how your American dream did come true?
I will say always follow your heart. The heart is the source. If you think you can do it, believe in yourself. You can do it. If you have a doubt, don't do it, because when you have a doubt, you're always gonna break down in your way. But if you say I can do it, because this is always, I always say to my kids, never say I can't. Just say I will try, no matter what. Try it. I will do it. But be yourself. If you are an immigrant, it doesn't mean that you're different. You are not different. You're just still a human being, and you can do what you can do. Just push harder, push forward.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Hicham.
You
I
got it.
really enjoyed. I know our listeners are going to love your story, and I'm so proud of you. So glad that you were our first immigrant guest after myself on our show. So,
Thank you for having
anybody
me.
have any questions? And then hopefully, and then I'll please send me your Instagram, because some people might
Sure.
contact you and add you. But say hi to Kat and your beautiful daughters.
You got it.
But
Thank
again,
you.
everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Voice of a Stranger. Hope everybody enjoyed this, and you will have another guest next week.
Thank you. You guys
Okay.
have a good one. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us this week. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or on your webpage at thevoicesofastranger.com. If you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend and subscribe to the show. Tune in next week for a new guest. Until next time, keep living life with passion and make each day count.